The long wait is over now. Welcome to Zanskar. After 8 long months in lockdown, I managed to venture out into the mountains last December. And what better place to rediscover this freedom than Zanskar, the land of the white copper.
जंक्स होता है तंबाकू कॉपर है ना कार होता है कार्पो वाइट वाइट कॉपर ये नाले और नदी में मिलता है वहाँ कभी कभी ऐसा गोल गोल मिलता है कभी कभी पत्थर के साथ चिपक के मिलता है उसको ले करके साफ करना पड़ता है छुजांग बोलते हैं जिसको पानी में से मिले हुए
Zanskar is currently a part of Ladakh, but for a long time in their history, both Ladakh and Zanskar were separate kingdoms, sometimes ruled over by Tibet and sometimes independent and ruled by their own kings. So the people of Zanskar have a strong identity of their own, separate from that of Ladakh.
ngaris को तुम 3 रीजन में बांटता है ngaris को ngaris ngari ngari है ना ngari प्रोविंस को वो 3 में बांटते हैं बनते तो लद्दाख एक हो गया ना पीती और ज़ांस्कर मिला के एक हो गया ना कुगे और पुरांग वेस्टर्न तिब्बत में वो मिल करके एक बाद में कई साल तक ये अपना ये ngari कर्तुम तो ख़त्म हो गया फिर ज़ांस्कर अपने में अलग से रहा ज़ांला उनका अपना राजा है फिर बाद में जाके देलदान ये 16 के एंडिंग पे देलदान के पीरियड में फिर ज़ांस्कर को ले लिए
Throughout its history, Zanskar has remained more or less isolated from the outside world, even from its immediate neighbors such as Ladakh, Lahul, and Spiti. Winters in Zanskar are especially long and harsh, and the valley is cut off from its neighbors for almost 6 months. The only way in or out of Zanskar during the winters is on the chadar, the blanket of ice on the frozen Zanskar river. And Zanskar is hard to reach even during the summers. Until recently, the only way to reach Zanskar was through a long, back-breaking drive on a dirt track from Kargil. The road used to be so bad that most people wanting to visit Zanskar would drive up to the Rangdum monastery and maybe up to the Pensila Pass, click a few pictures there and then turn back. All this isolation means that the people of Zanskar have managed to hold on to their old ways of life. A lot of traditional practices that have disappeared elsewhere can still be seen in Zanskar. The locals have even turned their harsh environment to their advantage. For example, the lack of roads make it very hard to transport heavy items to the villages and monasteries. So the people wait until winter for the rivers to freeze and then use the frozen river as a highway to easily transport their goods. All this is about to change very soon though. Zanskar is on the cusp of some huge changes in the coming years. Two new roads were opened last year in 2020, connecting Zanskar with Leh through the Singela Pass and then another road to Manali over the Shinkula Pass. The improved connectivity will bring a lot of prosperity to Zanskar, both in terms of tourism and trade opportunities. But this development will also accelerate the extinction of the traditional way of life in Zanskar. For example, the village of Pishu just started using tractors this winter to distribute water among the households. Up until last year, they were using donkeys for this purpose. Now the villagers have no use for their donkeys and they will slowly disappear from Zanskar. The same thing is happening to their zoos and yaks as well. The villagers now prefer to use tractors to plow their fields instead of using their zoos and yaks. Convenience will always win over tradition in the materialistic world. I have decided to focus most of my attention on Zanskar for the next few years, visiting the few remaining untouched villages of Zanskar and documenting their way of life before modern development inevitably catches up with them as well. All this is something to look forward to in the future. But what about the current trip, you ask? Well, it was a roller coaster ride full of ups and downs. The ongoing COVID pandemic meant that I had to be very careful while traveling this winter. I flew to Leh on the 7th December and spent a week in quarantine at my friend's guesthouse in Upper Changspa. Initially, I had no plans of visiting Zanskar this winter, but a few days after my quarantine, I saw a post on Twitter saying that the road to Zanskar was open. This was a very interesting prospect as Zanskar's remoteness would make it a ideal protected little bubble after the roads closed again. So I went to Kargil and then took a ride towards Zanskar, but I was turned back midway by the police at the Panikar village and I went back to Kargil to get some proper permissions from the concerned authorities. Everyone was very helpful and soon I was on my way back to Zanskar with the proper permissions. This was my first time in Zanskar and everything was very fresh and exciting, full of possibilities, new places to explore, new people to meet, and new stories to tell. But the excitement was short lived as I was frostbitten in all my toes barely a week into the trip. So I spent almost 35 days marooned in the village of Pishu, recovering from the frostbite and patiently, maybe even a bit frustratingly, waiting to get moving again. And when I was ready to move again, the first place I visited was the Puktar monastery. I had initially planned to spend only a few days there, but I was so enamored with the place that I ended up spending 20 days at the monastery. It was easily one of the best experiences of my life so far, and you will find out why in the upcoming episodes. So strap yourself in and get ready for an exciting ride through winter in Zanskar.
이거 되게